Even a blind man knows that the CCP needs to end. Today, I am not wearing a hat to end the CCP because I want the people from the Chinese consulate to see my face and tell you there are Americans who will fight against you for freedom and democracy all over the world. Even those of us who cannot see you know you are there. Know your end is coming soon. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Today is Sunday, a day of worship among Christians like me. A day that if I said, God bless you and keep you, that you and all of you and me could face arrest in China if we said that without the permission of the state, that we cannot even gather to worship God because the party does not allow it. They do not want people to worship anything but them. And what do they worship in Beijing? They worship profit and money. They pretend to be communist, but they are not. I am going a little bit away from the prepared remarks that I have, but essentially it is the same thing. Unfortunately, I suffer from glaucoma, so my vision is not so good anymore. What I want to say very clearly is just on two issues. The seventh commentary, which deals with the CCP and its policy of death. Not far from where we are, there are doctors who work for the CCP, and they will sell the organs of members of various groups. Political prisoners, members of the Falun Gong, or people that the party decides that they can sell the organs and body parts of. That is why I call the CCP a party of death, because death is what they want, only to everyone but them. So they will sell everything, including the blood, the organs, the skin, the eyes. You can have that. If I were unscrupulous, I could go probably somewhere and buy eyes to replace the ones that I have that do not work. But I will not do that because I do not want to see my fellow man suffer. I also talk about the ninth policy in my remarks, the ninth commentary. And this is very important for all of you who are parents here in Flushing. If you see the vice and the crime, the gangs and the drugs that are affecting your families, it is because of the CCP selling the chemicals that make the methamphetamine, the fentanyl, and that they money launder the drugs. I was talking with an agent of the US Department of Homeland Security, and you can go online and look at the United States Congress reports that show clearly that out of every $100 earned by organized crime in the United States, at least $30 goes to China, 1/3. And it goes to the coffers of the CCP. That is why they are now the biggest criminal organization in the world. They go beyond being a political party. You know, in my remarks, I also said very plainly and very clearly one thing. And that is that those of us who are blind need to be aware that there are things that are unseen, that can be seen, if only we are willing to look for it. Even those of us who have no eyes can see. And that is, there is a future that is free of the CCP. So today I say to you, God bless you and keep you. You are in the United States of America. If there is a snakehead, someone from the Communist Party taking money from you because you have to pay for your illegal entrance here or working here without a permit, do not fret. Go and report them to the government because that can allow you to stay. Expose them. Show what they are doing wrong. This is America. You are free, not just to speak, but to act. and together all we can end the CCP. May God bless Flushing. May God bless the people of China. May God bless these United States of America, and God bless you all. Thank you.
Hi, Mike. We truly appreciate your support. Can you share what motivated you to join today's event?
Well, first you invited me. Second, the important thing is the need to tell the truth about what is happening here in Flushing. Because a lot of Americans believe that what is happening is only happening in China. It is happening here. It is happening on Roosevelt Island. Do you realize there are thousands of young women and girls who are being sold into prostitution, who have come from China, who are working here in the streets of New York, and the people who are making the money from that are members of the CCP? Do people realize that our own officials here in New York are under investigation, our mayor, our councilors, our governor, for accepting bribes from the CCP, that we have councilors and board members in both parties who are taking free trips going to China? So that is why the CCP is corrupting not just China, but is also corrupting the rest of the world. And that is why it must end. They need to stop. And they need to stop poisoning the world, not just with their bad ideology of hate, but also with the drugs that they fill in the veins of our children and our people. And that is why I'm here.
Thank you. As you are a U.S. citizen, why are you so concerned about the Chinese human rights and the CCP?
Because human rights are everyone's rights. They're not just Americans' rights. They're the rights of others. My grandfathers, both on my mother's and father's side, fought in World War II to fight for freedom. And that freedom was fought in Asia, in the Philippines, and in other places. My father was born in Shanghai. When they were young children, they could have been taken by the Nazis and killed, but they were given refuge in old China, when China was still free. Now it is not, and that is why it tells us the difference. Again, I go back to, because the CCP is doing things not just in China, but they are affecting my mother's country in the Philippines and my father's country here in America. That is why it has to stop. It has to end. And the corruption and the CCP.
As you mentioned in your speech, the Epoch Times non-commentary should be one part of American students' education, which really inspired us. Could you talk more about this?
Yes, I think there is a need to go out, at first with the private schools maybe, and reach out to maybe the Catholic schools. Because remember, aside from the Falun Gong, Catholics also in China are persecuted as well. The priests are put in prison. There are many things that happen also to Catholics and other Christians, missionaries who go to China. And that is why we need to find a way that maybe in the private schools, we can start asking them to include it in the curriculum, to teach the children. And then move forward, let's talk to the city of New York. If Mayor Adams believes that the CCP is hurting his administration and hurting his government, then we should teach the people to warn them what to look out for, why they need to be aware about the CCP, and why it needs to be defeated and stopped here in New York City. And the only way to defeat them is to educate people. There are young students who wave the little red book and they, wear T-shirts with CCP on it and think that it's cool, nice. No, that has to stop. People need to know that that is just as evil and as bad as the swastika of the Nazis. And that has to end. China is a beautiful country. We're not against the Chinese people. We are against the Chinese Communist Party and their evil acts here in America.
In your opinion, what's the significance of today's 20th anniversary of the night commentaries?
As an American, it's very easy for me to speak. I can go anywhere and speak as much as I want. But what is important for people is to realize that they need to know that in places like China, you cannot speak. As I said in my speech today, if I spoke the way I spoke in China, it's bye-bye, I'm going to Mongolia, and I'll see you in 25 years. there is no freedom of expression. That is why it is important for people to realize and speak for those who cannot speak. We need to speak for those trapped in China who cannot get their voice heard and listened to, because we know what happens to them if they do.